Light, where we illuminate the path from pressure to presence. Today's guest, Dr. Albert Bramante, is a mindset expert who spent decades guiding high performers through their inner blocks. But this conversation goes deeper, beyond performance, into the soul. Together, we will explore how science and spirituality can work together in the healing journey and what it really means to live from the soul identity rather than the ego or conditioning. Welcome to the show, Albert. It's an honor to have you.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Mhm. So, Albert, what does it mean to live from the soul identity? And how is that different from ego or societal programming?
Soul identity is really running on your own programming and running on your true self of who you meant to be, not what somebody else expects you to be, not what your parents or your family expects you to be, but you're operating for your own identity in a sense. So you're really operating from your own set of truth to that.
Absolutely. And was there a personal moment where you had to choose your soul over your conditioning?
Yeah, I mean that it's part of going down the path of representing actors. Yeah, I come from a family and community that really is not in a part of show business or really had any experience in show business. So I had to really just connect to my authentic self and do this. So it was a bit different for me, So a lot of times it really didn't align with a lot what my family wanted. And there were some challenges, but I think I just really listened to myself and what I want to do. And it's really important that listeners do the same thing. Really listen to yourself.
That's so relatable. We often don't even realize how many choices are based on survival rather than authenticity.
Exactly. Being authentic is the best way to be. Not only for your own happiness, but you'll be more of service to others when you're authentic, acting from a place of authenticity.
Right. And how do you see science and soul working together in healing? Are they really in conflict or is that a myth?
It's somewhat of a myth. I mean, sometimes they can be in conflict, but the goal would be to integrate them together so that they are in like perfect harmony and working together, because that's the only way it'll help you improve and help you get better at what you're doing, and also just be happier by nature.
That makes sense. And can data driven practices like NLP still honor the spiritual aspect of healing?
100%. And I think it actually is, because what NLP will do is help you get to your true self and remove any of the negative patterns or negative conditioning that you might have received, so that you can be your true authentic self. So it does work very well hand in hand with NLP does really work hand in hand with spirituality.
That's such a refreshing take. Science as a mirror, not as a cage.
Hmm. Absolute.
And what are some signs someone is operating from ego mode versus soul mode, especially in high pressure roles?
Yeah, I mean the biggest sign would be by being very concerned what people think of you. Um, by being so concerned about what people think, being so concerned with are you successful based on what society tells you versus what your truth is. So I would say if you find something yourself really being consumed on like social media about what your success is and all of that will eventually just add up over time. And so you then just are so wrapped up and concerned, what do people think of me?
100%. And how do you guide people back to their inner compass when they're lost in external noise?
Inner compass, I would say when you're combined to your inner compass, I would say just live your truth. Live your truth and just listen, eventually just learn to trust in yourself.
That's such a needed reminder. Success isn't alignment unless the soul's in the room.
Hmm. Absolutely. The soul has to be in a room. And because really, if you go to listen to your soul, that's who you're truly destined to be, you know, in this lifetime, is whatever your soul is dictating. But we can sometimes ignore that through skepticism, through the program that we received growing up from our parents, from our families.
100%. And you talk about resetting internal narratives. What's one practical tool to start shifting from self doubt to self truth?
Well, the first thing I would say is by taking action. Start taking some actions on things. That would be the first thing I would really highly suggest. Start taking some actions, um, and really taking stock of what you really want to do. So, what really makes you happy? What is one thing that you really wish you could do? And then, if they're not doing that, then the next thing would be kind of figure out, well, why are you doing that? And if it's a fear, well, then that's something we have to work on, getting rid of that fear so that you can take that action. And the important thing is taking action. So even if there's small actions, but what can you do if it's something you really want to do, or you're sitting up to do? What can you do today, in a sense?
Totally. And how can someone keep that new narrative alive when old patterns resurface?
To keep it alive, it does take some effort, but I would say to keep it alive would just be to keep working at it, in a sense, to keep really working at it and keep being persistent.
For sure. And that's gold. It's not about flipping a switch, it's about nurturing a new frequency.
Hmm. Absolutely. And it's working through frequency of creation.
Yeah. And how does living from soul identity affect relationships, purpose, and peace on a daily level?
Well, number one, living with soul identity will give you inner peace and community. And I would say definitely with the relationships, you're operating then on authenticity, and you're not operating from projection or what you want other people to be or what you perceive other people. You just accept who they are.
Right.
Be the
And
biggest thing.
mhm. And what's one invitation you'd give to someone ready to reconnect with their inner light?
I would see with their inner light. One way to do that is by meditation. Focusing on what you really want and what feels right to you, and just learning to trust your intuition. A lot for some reason we tend, as we grow older, tend to stay away from our intuition or not listen to it or ignore it. And that's something you need to do is you need to really be paying attention to your intuition.
That's beautiful. It's less about becoming and more about remembering who we already are.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So, Albert reminded us that healing doesn't mean choosing between science and spirit, it's choosing to be whole. When we reset the stories we live by and tune into the soul, life becomes less about performing and more about being. So, if you're
Hmm.
ready to step out of the noise and into your light, this is your moment. Reconnect, realign, rise.